Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's topic, well, I kind of want to do a series of these because I don't think that I'll be able to fit it all into one video. I don't want the video to be 30 minutes long or anything. But the topic is kind of spilling the tea. And basically I wanted to, since a lot of the questions I still get is, like, how do you start a blog? Where do I even start? And that's kind of hard to just tell people because there's so much information. There's so much that goes into starting a blog. And for me to sit down and write a blog post about it would take me forever. I would much rather do a video about this. So I think I'm going to do a series called Spilling the Tea and just kind of start from scratch with, where to start, how to start a blog, what to do next, and so on and so forth, up until the point where sort of I am right now in my blogging career, and then where I'll go from here. So I just wanted them to be like, this video is just going to be super casual, like I'm sitting in my sweatpants on my couch. I want it to be really relaxed. I have my glass of tea because we're spilling the tea. So yeah, grab a cup of tea, a beer, whatever you want, and let's get started. I have some notes with me here. Like I said, I just want this to be like a super relaxed video. I don't want it to feel like you're sitting in a classroom. So I'm keeping it very laid back. I did bullet point a few things that I want to cover, but I'll probably be all over the place. I'm gonna try to be as controlled and stay on one topic and not ramble too much like I am right now. But okay, let's get started. So let's see, I started following Sunshine probably 3 years ago. Yeah, maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. And the reason why I started was ever since I was little, I've just always been into fashion, dressing up, shopping, styling, whatever it was, like that was my thing, that's how people would describe me, I was going to be in the fashion industry. And things sort of changed, I guess, because when I moved to New Orleans, I realized that there was nothing really when it came, down to fashion. There was nothing to offer. So my choice was to either sit in a 9-to-5 that I was miserable in, not doing what I loved, or create my own fashion. So that's sort of why I started following Sunshine, and a lot more like time and energy went into it in the beginning. But I think the main hurdle for me, the biggest thing that stopped me from starting my blog, is putting myself out there. I was so scared to really just take the transition from, my just regular Instagram basic pictures and then transition it to start, this is my blog. I am gonna start talking about things that I like, not just post a picture of me drunk at a bar or whatever it was. So that was my main hurdle, was, being vulnerable and putting myself out there. And I don't think really until these past couple weeks in quarantine have I really actually opened up and been vulnerable with you guys, because I feel like sort of in the beginning it was more just like witty, funny captions or whatever it may be. Shot my post here, shot my outfit here. Like, there was no depth to my post. And quarantine has really made me realize that you guys like to know me more. You want to know more. And so just me being honest and telling my story, that has made the world of difference. So I still get this question a lot, and I actually had a girl reach out to me today saying that she, just decided to start her blog. It was because of me, and those sort of things make me feel great. And like I was saying, I still do get the question, how to start a blog, and that's so hard to answer. It really is, because it's not just a one word or one sentence answer. So I want to kind of just start with how to start, what you need, and everything like that. So when starting a blog, I think, before I go and get into it, I don't want this to be like, I just went onto Google and Googled how to start a blog. You know, some of my tips may have come from Google, like how to start a blog, but my goal is to go more in depth. And like, I feel like personally when I started, I reached out to bigger bloggers and they would either give me this like super generic answer that I could have Googled and found, or they didn't answer me, they ignored me, they didn't want to help me because they didn't want to give away their tips for free. And that was so discouraging for someone just starting out because I didn't know where to go. I was stuck. I basically had to do this all on my own. I mean, things are a little bit different now. Google is a huge help. You can pretty much find anything you need on Google, but trust me, the amount of times I've Googled how to be a successful blogger, trust me, you could check my browsing history. I probably still do it to this day, but you're not going to find the answers on there because it has to do with you and the content that you're putting out. So to start a blog, obviously the first thing you need to ask yourself is why you're starting this blog. What do you want this blog to be about, and what is your purpose? And I think once you narrow down what your purpose is and why you want to start the blog, that'll make the process go by way easier. And if you ask anybody, they're going to tell you the first thing you need to do is pick your niche. And while I think picking a niche is obviously very important, I think when I started, I was like, all right, fashion is my niche. That's all I'm going to talk about is fashion. And so I think that is like the worst answer ever. I don't think you necessarily need to pick a niche. I think that you need to know what you want to focus on. I think if you decide I want to be a fashion blogger, that's all I want to do. All I want to do is post about fashion. That's great. Or if you say, you know, I'm a foodie blogger. All I'm going to do, the only thing I want to post on my page is food. That's great too. But so like I said, I was kind of like, you know, all I want to post about is fashion. Well, there's so much more to my life than just fashion, you know. I eat, I work out, I have to go to the grocery store. There's just so much more that I have to offer and that I wanted to share. So by like narrowing down and picking fashion as my niche, that just didn't work. So like I said, I think you need to have a niche, but keep it open. Don't just narrow it down and stick to just fashion, unless that's what you want to do. But if you Google how to start a blog, the first thing it's probably going to tell you is find your niche. So I think my advice to you is just figure out what you're passionate about. I think sticking to a lifestyle blog is probably your best option, because with lifestyle, you know, you can talk about traveling, you can talk about food, you can talk about fashion. But again, stick with what you know. If you're a photographer, if you are a foodie, then stick with what you know and stick with what you're good at, because that's how you'll succeed, because you're being honest with yourself, you're talking about what you know, and that's really where your best content will come from. So once you've kind of narrowed down generally what you want your blog to be about, the next thing, let's see what I wrote down. So you picked your niche, okay, then you pick a name. So when I started, picking a name was like, you know, you wanted to pick like a cool, catchy Instagram name. Where Following Sunshine, I still do love the name, you know, Sunshine is my middle name. There's a backstory to it, but it seems like now people on Instagram are just sticking with their name as their handle, and I think that's great. So once you have your name, you know, obviously create an Instagram account and then create a Facebook. I would go on every single platform you can. That would be my advice, is once you find your name, go on every platform you can and create an account on that platform using the name you've picked. And then after that is when you would create your website. There's a lot that goes into a website. Obviously, you know, you need to find how you're gonna make your website. So you first have to pick what site you're gonna make your website on, and then a host. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're gonna have to Google it. I promise when I started, I knew nothing about website hosting or anything like that. Basically, I use WordPress. That's what I create my website on. It's really easy. I created my own website all from scratch. They have templates on there and everything that you can follow. They make it super easy and you can literally YouTube it. So I think, I don't even know how much I paid to get it started, but maybe $100, but I could be making that up. It might be, it's probably $100 like total when you get your website and then buy your domain. So I use WordPress and then I use Bluehost to host it on. And I haven't ever had any issues with either of them. There's a ton of hosting websites out there. I did a lot of research prior to choosing my hosting name, and then I talked to a few other bloggers, and I've loved Bluehost and WordPress. So once you have all of that figured out, you get your website. I still think websites are essential, and you know, people say if Instagram was to crash, what do you have to show? So I think that's when websites come in handy. I'm not going to go too into detail about creating a website and all that because I honestly don't know enough about it. My website is pretty simple because that's all I know how to do, and I think that's fine because it doesn't need to necessarily look pretty to me as long as I'm putting out genuine content and getting my point across. So I would definitely look into WordPress because it's just super easy website. And then once you have, you know, your name, you've decided what your blog's going to be about, you have all your platforms created, I would then focus on the content that you're going to put out there, because I know in the beginning it's so like, okay, I need to get followers, you know, what do I do, how do I grow, blah blah blah. I think you first focus on the content that you're putting out there. So you want to spend your time taking pretty pictures or whatever your blog is going to be about. Put the time in, because I promise it'll be so worth it in the end. I wouldn't be so worried about the numbers at first because, you know, you're basically starting from scratch and it's going to take a while to get there. But if you're putting out quality content, then I promise you, you will get there. So focus on the content. That would be my next step. Decide what you want to talk about. My advice for your first post would just introduce yourself. Tell the world who you are, why you're on this platform, you know, what your goal is, what you hope to get out of it, what you hope to give to people, and so forth. And then that kind of just introduces yourself to everyone. And once you've done that, I would just still keep focusing on genuine content. And it's hard to say because obviously when I started, the content that I was putting out there is so different from the content that I'm putting out there now. So looking back, you know, like things change. So I would just stick with what you like. Find your kind of vibe and your aesthetic that you're going for and post about that. Get your feed started, you know. It's going to be hard for someone to follow you when you only have one picture on your feed. You know, that's not enticing. That's not going to bring anyone in. So build up your content, get like say 20, 30 posts and get them up there. And then once you have that done, you know, you have your feed looking good, you got your bio. That's another thing. Your bio is super important. When someone comes to your page, they want to know why they're there. They want to know who you are and what you do. And besides your pictures, your bio is really what's gonna, you know, bring them in. I took this course from Officially Quigley. If you don't know who she is a lifestyle blogger, a very successful lifestyle blogger. And she states that in your bio you should have a, what's it called? Like a, God, I can't even think of what it's called anymore. But basically just like a few words or a sentence that, your mission statement, that's it. She says that you need to have a mission statement. And I guess I don't really have a mission statement, but when you come to my page, you see it says like fashion, lifestyle, travel, and more, something like that. So people know, okay, that's what I'm going to get when I come to Savannah's page.